Hello there.
Welcome back, my friend.
Hello, what have we here?
Jedi, we've been expecting you.
Knew I could count on you.
Hello.
Welcome to the rebellion.
What fun!
What's up, everyone? Hybrid here, and today we are taking a look at another one of these new fan channel prequel alien figures. This new wave has just dropped, and they are absolutely superb looking. Today we are taking a look at Taun from Attack of the Clones. Absolutely iconic character, one of the coolest prequel designs in my opinion. I always loved the really super elongated, lanky, skinny Kaminoans, the way they walk. They are just not human. They are inhuman, the way that they exist, and operate in universe. Of course, we see these guys a little bit more in the Clone Wars, and not so much in Revenge of the Sith, but I guess we do get some Bad Batch screen time as well, particularly with her, so she could go on a number of shelves, but Taun, her first appearance is in Attack of the Clones, where Obi-Wan Kenobi is shown that the Republic actually has a clone army at the ready at a time where they might be looking at a galactic scale war, which is just a insane plot point, but very, very important character to the lore, even if she doesn't have the highest screen time. But a figure that, all the same, belongs on an Attack of the Clones shelf, if you are a fan of that movie. So, let's dive into it, and just take a look at her in the box first, before we get into the review. Here's Taun in that glorious Black Series packaging. It is the standard packaging for the line, with your Black Series logo and a big window showing her and her one accessory off nicely. She's the 13th figure in the Attack of the Clones lineup, her name in red. Attack of the Clones represented in red with the background as well. Warning 4+ Hasbro. Some really cool side art of her on the side of the box and her name down at the bottom. This side features a wraparound window stripe and a Black Series logo down below. A zoom in of that side art, a Black Series logo, a bio about her in 5 different languages. Pause and read whichever language best applies to you. Once more, she's the 13th figure in the Attack of the Clones line. Bunch of legal stuff, Disney, Hasbro, barcode, more legal stuff, and a hanger tab. Very standard Black Series packaging. Nothing to write home about here. So let's go ahead and get her out of the box and take a closer look at the excellent looking figure inside. Here's Taun out of the packaging. Let's go ahead and dive into her one and only accessory. It will be very brief. She comes with this little data pad, and you know what? I have said this kind of thing for a while. If a character can come with no real accessory, if they don't really do anything, if they don't use items in their brief screen time, give them something like this, a data pad, or just something for the sake of something. I think we do see her maybe in the Bad Batch use, a tablet like this. It is just a gray, mostly flat rectangle with a blue illuminated screen with no details on it. You have some minor molded, little tablet-looking things in the back, and she holds it fairly well in her left hand. It is a loose grip, but it is a grip all the same, a grip that is adequate for something like this accessory. But setting that aside, let's take a look at Taun. As you can see, I have giant meat hook hands, I call them the meaty claws, and, she looks absolutely just tiny in my hands, and that is not something that is going to be exclusive to me. She is very, very, very slender, very tall, and that is accurate to in-universe. We will do a full-blown size comparison, but just for fun, here she is next to a Phase 1 Clone Trooper, which is kind of like a standard figure, and you see just how small she is. She is delicate and dainty, and definitely, is going to require some specialized posing, but she has nice articulation, and she has some insane detailing. So let's go ahead and start by taking a look at that likeness. I'm going to bend the knees just to get the head a little bit lower here to the camera. Gotta say that Taun head actually has been recreated fairly well. Again, these are all CG in the films, so she's got that kind of like band around her head that kind of, goes over here. Their eyes, the Kaminoans' eyes, are the most striking thing I think about their design in the movies. They're almost black, like space, with little white specks in them, and then the pupil in the front, and I think that this is a really good attempt at recreating the effect, but also, without real life CG. I don't think anything would get it perfect. It's pretty good, though, I gotta say. Mine, I don't know what that is on her neck, if that's supposed to be on purpose, or if mine has a little smudge of tan that made its way over. I do not know for sure, but she has her neck wrappings going down that long neck, going down, again, that slender, skinny body, and you get to her shoulders. She's wearing that kind of blue bodysuit with the white vest. You work down to the belt with all of those orbs on it, and you get a soft goods skirt. And you have these white horse legs going on. They go forward and then back, and then another knee in the back. Unlike the Geonosian, we did not get double articulation. We only got normal knees on her, and then the lower legs just have that bow leg in them, and that's just how they are on this one. It's not a bad thing by any stretch. It's just how she was interpreted this go around. But spinning her around, it's a very simple design. It's very elegant, though, and one thing that's going to be very fun with her is she has these teeny tiny feet, probably smallest feet in the Black Series, besides, the micro figures like Grogu and the Porgs. They are little, but thankfully you do get some stand pegs in there, so you can maybe find some third-party stands that might help, and truthfully, as small as the feet are on her, you're going to probably want to try and find some help. Some stands I like are these stands here. You can get them in black or clear. You can get them in packs of 50, 25, 50, 100, 200 on AliExpress. You just got to look action figure stands and start scrolling, and all three of those pegs were a different size. They fit most Black Series rather well, but a little plug there for an unlicensed product, but it's generic third-party stuff. But very, very intricately done figure. This is one of those things where it's she has important screen time. As brief as her screen time is, she really gets the plot for Attack of the Clones rolling. And it would be wrong to never represent her in plastic, but she's niche enough that she's probably not for everyone's shelf. But I am kind of a completionist, and I love a nice sculpt, and they've done some great work here on her. She looks great. So she's very tempting to me, but I understand she's not going to be for everyone. But let's run through some articulation. Long, skinny, lanky. They still hid some articulation in her, which is nice. She has that double neck going on where she can bend it at the bottom and at the top. You're looking that far forward. You can get her looking that far back. Of course, you can get all sorts of pivot for that attitude that the Kaminoans just don't have. They are very devoid of emotion. Her arms come up to a T-pose. There is a butterfly joint hidden in there. Such a small torso, skinny arms. I would have expected that to not make the cut. Sorry, not a butterfly joint. A ball joint in there. Interesting. Okay, I'd had that mistaken. 360 rotation at the shoulder because of that, of course. Single jointed elbows go pretty far past 90 and then swivel at the elbow with the ball jointed wrists allowing some range, but it's almost more of just a rotation than anything else. They're very snug up against the forearm, but you can get a little bit of movement on them. Again, I think for what she is, that's fine. You have a mid-torso and a waist crunch there, so you can actually get her crunched that far forward in the body and that far back. And then, of course, rotation at both and pivot. So, again, a lot of articulation going on in here. And then we're going to pull the skirt up. There is no thigh swivel hidden in there, but they are ball-jointed hips, allowing her to do a split that is that wide. You can kick her legs straight forward, a little bit back, a little bit of rotation on that ball joint in there, but this kind of character, you wouldn't care if it had a thigh swivel or not, I don't think. Single-jointed knees go to 90. Swivel at the knee. As I mentioned, the lower bend does not articulate, and then the teeny tiny feet can go forward and back, and there's a pivot in there, so you can get her into some interesting poses. I don't think you're ever going to pose someone like Taun incredibly dynamically, but you could definitely pose her, in all the walking poses you might want, or standing by her clones that she's made, or, whatever floats your boat. Here she is next to a bunch of other Attack of the Clones figures, just to give you an idea of scale. She is absolutely, likely the tallest figure in the Attack of the Clones line. However, she is absolutely skinny and frail and dainty, as I really hemmed and hawed through the entire review to make the point of. Here she is next to the Phase 1 Clone Trooper, also debuting in the movie, Obi-Wan, who finds out the clones have been made, Jango the Clone Template, the Geonosian Warrior. Truthfully, They've never met her and the Geonosian Warriors, but they're from the same wave, and it is the Alien mini wave, and they have done some great work here. So I just figured I would absolutely involve him in the comparison. But she looks great, she scales right, and I think she's going to look very good in an Attack of the Clones display. So at the end of the day, what do I think of Taun? I think she looks great. She poses up very nice with that data pad. That is an excellent accessory to give her. Truthfully, what else could you give her? Back in the day, they probably would have given her something like a chamber with a clone embryo or something in it. But what are you going to do with that truly in a Black Series display without having a bigger diorama thing going on? It would be a hard thing to display properly. So I do like the idea of her, having a little tablet to play on. I think that's pretty good. She can play her Angry Birds and other games, while she's waiting on the plane at the airport or whatever. But anyways, just a very well done figure. Definitely not one that everyone's going to be like, I have to have. Although I, again, stand by it. I think it's a good figure. I do like this figure. I think they did really good on her. Again, just really nothing negative to say. She came out really, really well. And I like her. I think it's a great figure. But again, she's definitely on the fringe. She's one of those characters where it's like, you might not want her, and that's on you if you don't, but I think that it is a good figure all the same. And I'm just super happy to have her on my shelf. So I recommend her, but I get if she's a pass. I'm going to go work on some other videos now. We definitely have a lot going on with the Black Series right now, so I'm going to keep the good content cranking out. So thanks for hanging out with me and listening to me ramble about Taun. I'm going to go get the next video rolling, so until next time, may the Force be with you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next comment section. Bye.